Ladies and gentlemen, the Anvil Liberator. In my opinion, one of the ugliest ships to be released during a Citizen Con, but it's what's inside that counts, or in this case, what's on the inside and outside. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a pocket carrier. Who needs this? Why do we need this? Well, I will explain. First of all, let's take a look at some of its cousins over here, things that can carry other ships. We have the Kraken. Now, the Kraken excels at carrying lots of ships on its deck. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or as many ships as you can cram onto it. The Idris carries ships in the interior, up to 3 of them. So why do we need this, and why is it $500? Well, simple enough, I will just push a button over here. Look at that. This is the crew requirements, or rather the crew recommendation. Let's be honest, you're all going to solo your Kraken, right? Idris too. So the Kraken has a crew complement of, 10? The Idris, a lot more than that. Lots of turrets to be manned. And here we have the new Anvil Liberator coming in at a recommended crew of 2. That is it, making this ship definitely very soloable and an important ship to have with small groups of friends. Let's read a little bit more about it on the sales page. Go the distance with the Liberator light carrier. A lot was said here about the specific point, and that is the Liberator is a pocket carrier that is essential for small groups to get across large spaces. It was said that a system like Pyro is extremely large, and to get from one side to the other will take a fair amount of time. You will not be able to do it, or rather you might be able to, but it'll take a lot of stops and a lot of time in your small fighter ship. So if you and a few friends are out doing a bounty mission or whatever you're doing for the day in your small ships, you will need a friend to grab his Anvil Liberator. You can jump on it and get a taxi basically across the system much faster and more efficiently than if you had to do it independently. That's where the ship comes in. That's where it excels. Let's take a closer look at what they're saying here. The Liberator easily accommodates 3 ships in its open-air landing pads, from light to medium fighters, mining, and freight craft. So here we see a Hornet on the top deck. We see 2 Tonks inside, and the Argo cargo on the pad at the bottom over there. It's look, it's utilitarian. There is nothing sexy about this. It is built for a specific function, and that is exactly what it does. Nothing more, nothing less. And here to further the point, long range, equipped with massive size 3 quantum drive. The Liberator is built specifically for extreme range deployment. This is why this ship is important. You don't need to call up a Kraken. You don't need to get an Idris into the AO. All you got to do is have one friend who can solo the ship easily, bring it along, and you can get a small group of fighters into the fringes of some space very fast, much faster than you could otherwise. Its ability to expeditiously transport smaller short-range ships and vehicles to objectives between star systems makes it an invaluable asset for all manner of industrial, commercial, or combat operations. I think the selling point is basically made. The only thing is we don't have a system right now other than Stanton, but I guess when Pyro comes online, we'll see how much sense the ship makes. Taking a look at the interior, here is the cargo bay. It takes 400 SCUs. Nothing spectacular, but not bad. Definitely enough to carry everything you need from one point to another. As far as weaponry goes, you have a manned turret with S5s, which is pretty decent, and a remote turret on the other side of that, a melee operated turret supporting size 5 laser repeaters, along with dual automatic point defense turrets, and 4 bespoke missile launchers keep the Liberator and its passengers well protected. I don't expect this thing to survive in one-on-one PvP with anything else, but you have your friends with you in fighters to make your survivability go up drastically, so that is that. Let's take a look at the pilot quarters and rated room. Now, so interesting images here. Let me blow this up. Actually, let's make this even bigger. Let's make that a bit bigger. There we go. All right, so there's actually a lot to see in this isometric view over here. I guess we'll begin with the front and work our way down. 16 jump seats. Why is this important? It is very likely that when you are traveling through a jump point, there's a fair amount of turbulence, and anyone in the ship that is not buckled in needs to get buckled in, or they will take damage or even die. That is why jump seats are very important, especially in ships traveling like this. Moving out of the jump seat area, we have what looks to be a sort of an armory. You have your 8 storage lockers. We have a little guy standing over there with a bunch of weapons on a table. Moving beyond that, we have a bathroom and access to the vehicle bays. Now, going upstairs, we see 6 more suit lockers. We have access to the landing pads, a little viewport to the front, and access to the top pads from there. Another table with more storage lockers. Beyond that, walk into the back, a bathroom. The second bathroom in the ship, because I hope bodily functions don't become a requirement, because there's too many bathrooms in the ship. I'm getting concerned. But walking beyond that, you'll see a lift which takes you down. We know the ship was made in the UK because they were calling elevators lifts. Yes, that is my sleuthing. And that leads you down to the docking collar from the outside. We'll take a look at the exterior in a second. Moving down and across, we see we can go to the engineering access, which leads us to a large circular room with your shield generator, the gravity generator, the jump drive, the large cooler, 2 large coolers at that, a large shield generator, and another large power plant. That looks pretty spectacular. It looks very impressive. We don't see many of these rooms yet, but much like the 400i, they've paid a lot of attention to the interiors of what they want them to look like, and I have no doubt this one will be impressive too. Walking across the other side of the ship, we have another lift with cargo access and access to the surface. Next up is just small beauty shots. There we see a tank driving out and firing at the same time. Missiles flying all over the place. Yes, very exciting. Let's go on. You know what? That's very reminiscent. I'm getting very Starship Troopers kind of vibe out of that. Aren't you? Also with this one. Very, very Starship Troopers vibe with that. And final picture in this series here. Let me blow this one up for you too. There we go. All right. There is a lot to see. There's a lot going on. Okay, so we already saw the jump seats, the armory, and jump room. What we did not see is how that connects to the decks, which it does through the armory access on the bottom deck through there. Coming through to the front end over here, we now see the cockpit. So let's begin in the front with the cockpit area over here. Pilot in the middle, co-pilot to the side. Walking out of the cockpit, you will come to the berth or your 2 bunk beds, which look like to be on top of the cargo area of the ship. There's also access to the top deck from there, those 2 doors. Moving beyond that, we see another bathroom. Concerned with the number of bathrooms, as I said. And beyond that, we hit life support. And beyond the life support, we have the manned turret and a medium battery for emergency power. Walking to the lift, beyond that will take you down to the lower deck, which is the same deck as the cargo. There we see the 400 SUs or cargoes right over there. Vehicle bay access from there also, and that is pretty much it. Moving on down the page, so I want to take a look at this right over here, the vehicle bay. Now, the interior bay accommodates 2 ground vehicles of any size, including exploratory rovers, battle tanks, and Anvil's own Atlas platform chassis. What is an Anvil Atlas platform chassis? So a couple of people already theorizing that this is actually going to be that mech suit. I don't know about that. I haven't heard anything about that yet. It's possible, since it's listed as a platform chassis, that something can carry either weapons or cargo. Or you know what? You may be right. If that is that mech suit everyone wants, and I guess everyone's buying this for $500 now, but we have no information. Actually, if there's any devs watching this who know what an Atlas platform chassis is and like to give us a couple of hints, please post below or message me. I have a sneaking suspicion we will actually learn about it next month or by December, because it's very strange they would list something with not elaborate upon it. So let's spin this around and take a look more like it. Doesn't he look like that, what is that robot from that cartoon? Oh, it slips my mind. I'll get back to you on that. Manually operated turret equipped with twin size 5 lasers repeaters. Yes, we've seen that. This is not a offensive ship, but it needs something, right? Landing pads. Open air landing pads accommodate up to 3 ships simultaneously, while the double deck configuration facilitates effortless takeoffs and landings. I can see that being cool in combat ops, where you swoop in, your damaged friends land quickly, and you get out of there very fast. Cargo hold, 400 SCUs of dedicated cargo space ensures you'll never have to sacrifice vehicle space to pack adequate supplies for traditional freight. Okay. Automated turrets, dual size 2 point defense turrets, fully automated to take away the threat of those pesky torpedoes. And the Liberator Cockpit provides a clear view of all 3 landing pads, making sure your crew can keep an eye on their passengers while staying on course to their objective. Now let's take a look at the technical breakdown, the specs. It is 122 meters in length, 68 wide, 24 meters high. It has 3 external pads, 2 internal, 400 SCUs, a crew of 2, which I've mentioned is great. Size 3 shields, it is tanky. Size 3 quantum drive, it is fast. 115 meters per second otherwise, and I showed you this picture in the beginning compared to our other carriers. This is definitely the pocket carrier that a lot of people have wanted. Probably know what they thought it would look like, but it does its job and will probably do its job pretty well. Now let's get on to the price. 500 buckaroos, war bond, 575 with store credit. It is not a cheap ship, but I guess the real value in it will lie in its functionality, especially when it comes to large systems. So that'll only come out when we see Pyro. But I know several people who have already purchased this. This is actually the pocket carrier they've been waiting for. And I'm curious to know, what are your thoughts on the Liberator? Is this the ship that you have been waiting for? Is it the pocket carrier you're waiting for? Does it look pretty to you? Post below. If you like my content, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Comments always appreciated. Subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.